One writer said he could spend his whole time in busy idleness. So you catch this. Slothful people often are very busy. What are they doing? Doing nothing? Or doing things? One speaker said in a certain business where income is based on sales, he said there's a good number of the salesmen on the floor who are in their offices and they're simply paper shufflers and donut eaters.
Oh, donut eaters.
That's a good thing, donut eaters, yeah. They go into their office, they sit down at the desk, they've got all these papers, these are potential contracts, and all they do is shuffle papers, set goals, take a break, go in the break room, talk, eat donuts, talk with the other salesmen, go back to their office, shuffle papers. They don't get a thing done, and they don't make any sales. This writer says, but for useful labor, he has no heart. He is a prey all day long to greedy covetousness. Thus, dreaming of the end without mortification of godly exercise, he dies with his desires in his mouth, envying those whose industrious diligence enables them to give and spare not. And that's what the last part of that verse says. But the righteous giveth and spare not. There are people now who have become diligent. And he's still having to work for somebody under tribute. He's now under domination, but these people over there are working hard, giving and giving and giving more and sparing not. You know what that says to me? Oftentimes, slothful, lazy people have extreme crisis in their finances. And they're looking at other people that are always giving and giving and God's blessings on them financially, and they're wondering why. Well, they don't bother to think that it's because they've been crippled by their own slothfulness. But by the way, just notice the opposite of the word slothful. It says, but the righteous. So the opposite of being slothful, on the other hand, it says the righteous giveth and spare not. The opposite of a slothful man is a righteous man. Here's the point that Solomon's making. To be lazy is to be unrighteous. It's not just, I got some laziness. No, God says that's sin. Unrighteousness. Now, look at verse 24. Proverbs 19, verse 24. This is interesting, having a potluck right now. The slothful man hideth his hand in his bosom, and will not so much as bring it to his mouth again. The lazy man, the sluggard, hides his hand in his bosom, that the chest or breast of an individual. Here's a picture of an individual who's too lazy to take his hand out of the warmth and security of his garment to eat delicious food. Too lazy. This word bosom is also interpreted dish. It's not uncommon for a man to place his dish on his lap as he ate. A lazy person would not so much as even bring his hand to his mouth for a bite of food. Another thought. Job, in defending his spirituality to his friends, gives this phrase. He says in Job 31, verse 33, if I covered my transgressions as Adam by hiding iniquity in my bosom. This is the idea of deceit, covering over sin, hiding your true self. And with this meaning in mind, Solomon could be telling us that a lazy person will do all he can to cover the fact that he's lazy. He deceitfully lies around, without letting on to others of his problem. He has a hard time getting up enough energy even to feed himself. Another similar passage, Proverbs 26, verse 15, says the slothful hides his hand in his bosom It grieveth him to bring it again to his mouth. Grieveth him. He's too worn out to eat. It tires him. It makes him disgusted or faint or loath or weary to bring it to his mouth again. Thomas in his book said his food is provided for him. It's spread before him, but he's too lazy to take his food. He drops his hand in his dish. He's not only too lazy to earn his food by honest labor and to prepare for his own use, but when it's there, he's almost too indolent, means lethargic or lazy, to raise it to his mouth. He reaches out for a bite of food. He's not willing to exert energy to feed himself. He'd rather pour a bowl of Wheaties than to cook a nice meal. For me, you'd rather lay some chips out and put some cheese on it and put it in the microwave and eat that than to go through all fixing of a meal. Basically, when I look at verses like this, I say three words: palsy of character. Palsy of character. This condition of palsy of character grows on a lazy person. Palsy is a fit of strong emotion marked by the inability to do something about it. Palsy. You're hungry. You know that to eat right, you must go to a store, purchase food that's healthy. You realize you must prepare it. Maybe that involves cooking it, setting the table, doing the dishes. It's much easier to stop at a donut shop and eat it there. Do I hear an amen? Or stop at a fast food chain or order it from Pizza Hut. Now, let me go a step further. Talk about laziness. You go to a lazy person's home. You walk in unannounced. You find food and dirty eating utensils thrown from one part of the house to the other. You take a sniff and it actually stinks. And their children are always sick. The people are usually way overweight and always sick and tired. Now let me review just quickly about the slothful man. He's not a self-starter. Proverbs 10:4, he's slack, he has idle hands. Proverbs 10:26, he damages the productivity and vision of his employer. Proverbs 12:24, you have to watch him and constantly provide it for him and prod him. And chapter 12, verse 27, he's wasteful. Proverbs 13, verse 4, he's a great goal setter. And Proverbs 20, verse 4, he gives excuses of why he can't do the job. And Proverbs 26:26, he's great at excuses and great at giving advice. So what do we do about this? One writer said, form habits of early energy. Beware of dreaming sentimentalism. Cultivate both bodily activity. Regard the incursions of sloth as the effects of those poisons, which while they cause sleep, unless counteracted by constant resistance, must prove fatal. Beware of spiritual palsy. And quit making excuses. Face the problem realistically. Do something about it. Pray about it. Ask God to give you a hatred toward the sin of slothfulness. Hey, get others to pray for you. Raise your hand and prayer request. Have a prayer request. Can you pray for me? How? I'm slothful. Don't just rehearse that you're not going to memorize. Don't just record your voice on an MP3 and listen to the verses. That may be good. But it's hard work to memorize and meditate on the scriptures. Make yourself accountable to another believer. Do some reading on the subject. Listen to some recordings on time management, setting goals, or spend time with diligent people, and learn to detect soft little choices, and ask God for a hatred for the sin of slothfulness. Now, number 6, quickly. A slothful man does a lot of damage to his employer. You know what? Having a sluggard on your team It's not good for the team. Not only to the boss, not only to the employer, not only to the coach, but to the whole work group or business, to the whole team. It's bad to have a sluggard on the team. You see, the slothful man is not only unproductive because of his laziness, but actually becomes destructive to the whole enterprise, the whole ministry, the whole football team, the whole soccer team, the whole ministry team, or a whole staff, or a whole mission team. Everyone has to pay the price for his slothfulness. Lack of initiative. Lots of people counting on him, but he lets them down. His lack of initiative and follow-through become very costly to those counting on him. Those of you who have men or women working with you would probably say an hearty amen to that. It's not just unproductive, but very destructive to the morale of the whole group to hire a slothful man. Proverbs 18 verse 9 says he wastes a lot. He also has slothful in his work is both him that is a great waster. People that waste a lot usually are lazy people. It's the same root sin, lack of self-control. Lazy people look for shortcuts. Lazy people throw useful things away. Lazy people will not use a level and a square as often as they should, and they don't tighten the bolts as they should. They do a lot of damage to the employer. They actually hurt the vision, impact of the employer. Turn to Proverbs 10. Proverbs 10, look at verse 26. It says, as vinegar to the teeth. You ever tried to gargle with vinegar? And as smoke to the eyes, burns your eyes. So is the sluggard to them that send him. So let's talk about this. As vinegar to the teeth. The thought is vinegar hurts your teeth. Hurts your bite. Basically talking about your impact. And it's smoke to the eyes. It hurts your sight and your vision and focus. A lazy employee is a pain, vinegar, smoke, to his employer. Why? Because the employer is constantly wondering whether the employee will show up or show up on time or leave early. You know, knowing the character of a sluggard, a slothful man who will be wiser in his own conceit than 7 men that can render reason, the employer confronts that employee, and the employee ends up bawling the employer out. Well, let me tell you a thing or two. By the way, that's not a good way to keep your job. Good insight. He will set his boss straight. How dare you tell me what to do? Look at what you do. Doesn't he know? And you get all the credentials this slothful man has. You wonder if he'll be on time. You wonder if he'll finish the job. You wonder if he'll turn the lights off when he's done. You wonder if he'll close up, clean up. So you find a sluggard does more damage to his board. And last of all, he's a victim of unreal fears. He's a victim of unreal fears. This is, I think this is pretty comical. Look at Proverbs 22, verse 13. Proverbs 22, verse 13. The slothful man says, there's a lion without. I'll be slain in the streets. Well, let me say something to you slothful man. Did you know lions are seldom found in the fields during the day in that part of the world? You almost never find a lion in the streets. There's a lion without. I'm surprised he sleeps in his own house. After all, houses catch on fire. People get severe accidents in houses. They drown in bathtubs. They choke on food. He's the victim of unreal fears. You know, that's a false excuse. Where do you find lions? Large, predatory, destructive, rapacious, voracious cats. Lions during that time would make their homes in valleys or ravines or desolate forests and uninhabited deserts. It's only on a rare occasion a lion would be found in the streets. One writer said that the lion in the streets is a fiction of his own lazy brain. The slothful man is ever acting thus in a secular sphere. If he's a farmer, he neglects cultivation of his fields. Because the weather is too cold or too hot or too cloudy or too dry or too wet. If he's a tradesman, he finds imaginary excuses in the condition of the market. You know, commodities are too high or commodities are too low. If he's an artisan, craftsperson, he finds difficulties in place, the tools or materials. So a slothful man is always looking for excuses. Hear me now. In the spiritual realm as well. It's too late to spend time in the Word. It's too early. Oh, it's too hot. It's too cold. Too much noise. My schedule is too busy to be in the Word. I'm too tired to be in church. I need my rest. I don't have the right clothes to wear. Too much politics in the church. Too many hypocrites there. I think I have COVID. The lion without. I shall be slain in the streets. Sir, what's that over there? Children, what are they doing? They're playing. Who's that? That's a lady hanging up her wash. What's that you hear? Thousands of people talking. Where are they? They're in the streets near the marketplace. Aren't they afraid of the lion?
No.
Not only is this man lazy, but he's also stupid, he's also a coward. Laziness, this writer says, and cowardice are vitally associated. There's no heroism in the heart of indolence. Notice he says, the sloth man says, there's a lion without. It doesn't mean he really believes it. Maybe he does. Or maybe he's self-deceived. Or maybe he's lying. Maybe he's a victim of unreal fears. There's a lion without. Out in the country, somewhere in this part of the state. In the streets, I'll be slain in the streets of my neighborhood. Hey, there's a lion somewhere out there in the state of Colorado. I'm not going to do my job next door. I'm not going to mow my lawn. That lion could be here. I mean, I heard there's a lion up in the mountains or up in Sterling, and that lion's going to all of a sudden appear at my doorstep and eat me up. I'm not doing my lawn. You see, the slothful man is a victim of unreal fears. He's a coward. He hates the work. Therefore, hear me now. He will be ready, ever ready, always ready to invent some kind of an excuse as to why the job can't be done now. How many times have you worked with a slothful man who's quick to tell you it can't be done? One writer said, fancied dangers frighten from the real and present duties. I've mentioned this often, and I'll just say in passing. I learned this the hard way, being in charge, being a manager, a crew boss for my father. Out in the fields, potato fields, driving a tractor, pulling a harvester. Many times, at least once or twice a day, the harvester would take in some big rocks, and they would bend or break the big, thick metal chains. I'd have to get off the tractor back with a crowbar and try to unpry that whole mess of chains. Well, all the other men on the crew up on the harvester, all the men sitting around just talking. And we're paying them by the hour. It's like, can anybody help? Oh, no. No comprende. Should we go home, guys? Should we quit? Oh, yeah, we think we should go home. Finally getting the job done after about 45 minutes. We're on to the job with my hands all bloodied, knuckles, untangled, bad together, machine running, turning it on. Tremendous lesson for me in Christian life. So a sluggard is a victim of unreal fears. Proverbs 20, verse 4, hear this. In fact, turn to it. Proverbs 20, look at verse 4. It says, the sluggard will not plow by reason of the cold. Therefore, shall beg and harvest and have nothing. It's too cold outside to plow. I'm going to wait till tomorrow. He always has an excuse of why he can't do the job right now. It's too cold. Yeah, and by the way, in that part of the world, it's dirty, messy, muddy. It's a messy job to plow, and the climate of the Middle East during that plowing time is rainy, cold, muddy. The cold air goes right through you. He has to do it during this time, or he will miss the proper time for planting the seed. The problem with the weather is a problem that he has no control over. It's out of his hands. It's not his fault. He will not plow by reason of the cold. By the way, I would say this. Look out there. Others are working, but not him. You confront him, he'll tell you why he, among all others, especially, cannot possibly plow in the cold. You know, when I was raised, I had a disease in my inner ear. Oh, really? Oh, yeah. And this disease has followed me all my life. I'm now like 40 years old, and I can't get in weather that's under 40 degrees. Really? Yeah, it makes me prone to colds. Really? So where'd you go last week? Oh, I went skiing. He will not plow by reason of the cold. The idea of planning ahead, preparing the ground to plant the seed. Common problem of lazy people. They want to harvest, but they're not willing to inconvenience themselves to do the plowing. They want the results, but they're not willing to pay the price in preparing for the results. It's too cold, it's too hot, it's too muddy, it's too wet. I think it's wrong to assume that the sluggard is an idle person who sits and does nothing. He loves. Now he'll tell you how he's at level 5 now in that video game. You will say, "Ooh, wow, that's good. That's really awesome. Oh yeah, I hit the top and now I'm over. How many hours? Well, I did it all night." He's not idle. It's busy idleness. The problem is not desire. He's got all the desire in the world to have a great harvest. The problem is not setting goals. He's not lack of knowledge. He has rolled all the seminars. He's listened to all the tapes or recordings. He's read all the books on how to have a tremendous harvest. You know what his problem is? He's lazy. His hands refuse to labor. Now, notice the last part of the verse. Therefore shall he beg and harvest and have nothing. When all his friends are in the midst of harvest, filling their granaries with grain, filling their bank accounts with money that will last them the rest of the year, when they're buying their families new clothes, filling their freezers with food, now he begins to feel sorry for himself. When they're reinvesting their money in newer equipment, better seed, he's depressed. No money. Why? He's too lazy to plow. He had all the excuses in the world why he couldn't come here and get the job. Bottom line now, he has nothing. Hungry. Family has no clothing. He can't pay bills. Too cold to plow. Lying in the way. Hey, Brother Cecil? Yes? Yes, sir, Brother Slug. I need a favor. Okay, speak to me. Can I borrow some money from you? I'll pay it back with interest, I promise. My family's about to starve. I'm about to be foreclosed on. I have all these doctor bills. Of course, Cecil has been forewarned about Brother Slug. Cecil tried to lovingly tell Brother Sloth that he better plow or his whole financial structure will tumble. Cecil's family now and their family altar begin to talk about it. Dad, get ready for Brother Slug to come begging. And Cecil and his friends have agreed that the best thing for Brother Slug is for him to go without. They have agreed the best thing for him now is to get a low-paying job to pay off his bills. Why? He must learn to discipline himself and work. He can't look for the easy way out. I don't think Brother Slug would ever lower himself to get a lower-paying job. He said, no, you were too lazy to get out there and plow, so what does he do? He approaches his close friend as tremendous harvest. His friend has a tremendous harvest. Let me just say this, and I've got to close here pretty quick. This is so true of us in the spiritual realm. God's people are full of excuses of why they can't serve. Now, God, there are several people in the church, the local church, especially Woodside, who say, here's why I can serve, and they are serving. Why they cannot make it consistently to church. Why they can't go out and visit. Why they can't memorize the word. Why they can't pray. Why they can't serve. Why they can't teach. Why they can't sing. Why they can't work. It's snowy outside. Roads are too icy. Auditorium too hot. Auditorium too cold. Auditorium too stuffy. I'm allergic to the carpet, the lights, the Christmas decorations. I can't get a ride. Last verse I want you to look at, Proverbs 15, verse 19. The way of a slothful man is an hedge of thorns. It hurts him to work. Hedge of thorns. We talked about that last time. You know, let me talk about when he was young, and we've got to close. Here's how he was raised. Step one, he had personal wants fulfilled without any effort on his part. Resulting conflict, he found ways to manipulate people and facts in order to get what he wanted. Conflicts with his conscience resulted. Number two, after sliding through school, he searched for an easy job that paid maximum wages for minimum effort. What was the result? His slothfulness caused strong reaction from those who were responsible for his production. Step number three, pressure from his employers caused him to start his own business and be his own boss. Result, he willingly believed get-rich-quick schemes, went into debt to finance his new venture, lost everything. Number four, in order to ensure success, here's what he did. He bought expensive clothes, expensive cars, and gave gifts to his rich friends. Conflict? Well, his wife reacted to his extravagance and tried to warn him about his business associates, but God says, he that giveth to the rich shall surely come to want. Proverbs 22:16. Step number 5, after failing in business, he's now forced to get a job in order to pay back his debts. Conflict, his heart and mind are not in his work. He's under greater pressure now than he was in previous jobs. It says he'll be under tribute. And step number 6, he views his job as temporary and keeps looking for the big opportunity of a position that brings money and prestige. Resulting conflicts, his lack of achievement, his financial pressure seriously damage his self-image. He views labor with contempt. But what does God say? In the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread. God says this in 2 Thessalonians 3:10. If you don't work, neither should you eat. Don't work, don't eat. So what? Self-deceived, soft little choices, not a self-starter, doesn't finish tasks, lives in a world of fantasy. There's a lot outside. Does a lot of damage to his employer. And again, he's a victim of unreal fears. Father, thank you for your word. Help us to be a diligent people. Help us to learn from these words of Solomon, your word, Lord. Help us be diligent in our spiritual walk. Faithfulness as we learn the word, study the word, learn to pray. We give you the glory.